Tell me your name.
Martha Cornelius.
Could I ask you, what is your first memory of Friendship Baptist Church?
The very first Sunday that I came to church, well, I came with my grandparents. They were members here, and I lived just up the road.
What were their names?
Harley and Clara Matheson.
Okay.
And I came, and I was in Catherine Edwards' Sunday school class. I was 13 years old. And I knew Catherine. Of course, I knew everybody in this neighborhood knew everybody else, you know. But I just enjoyed it so much that I just couldn't wait to come back. Been here ever since. I was saved and baptized and joined the church in the summer of 1954, about a year after I started coming.
Yeah. So the church had been organized, but it had been in this building maybe 5 years when you joined?
Yes, I think that's...
Yeah. So do you remember how many members was here when you joined?
I don't have any idea. There were a big group of us that were baptized.
Yeah.
Brenda and I were baptized at the same
Were you?
time. Yes.
Okay. Were you baptized in the baptismal or in the creek?
In the creek. We didn't have a baptism.
Whereabouts?
The creek behind Atco.
Do you remember who the pastor was?
The pastor was Kinsey was his last name.
Kinsey.
And he was sick when I started coming. He was not actually here, but
Okay.
he was still the official pastor.
Right.
And then Harold Elrod was the first pastor that I got to know. I was here when he came.
You said your Sunday school teacher was Miss Catherine Edwards,
Right.
and you were 13 years old. And can you remember who all was in that class, or some of the members?
Ruth Jackson,
Okay.
Luther Paul Stewart, and his parents, I think, were among the founding members of the
Okay.
church. The Weaver's granddaughter, Brenda Weaver.
Okay.
I think Donald and Leonard Ponder were already here.
Okay.
And as part of the group, when I was in high school, my husband, Henry Cornelius, Floyd Ponder, Don and Leonard Ponder, she was Rosa Moore then, you know, and your father-in-law.
Yeah. Alice.
They were just, we were just a big group, and it was just a lot of fun.
So, did you meet Emery here at the church or at school?
No, we both lived here in the neighborhood.
Oh, okay. So you met him here in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay. Were y'all married here in this church?
Well, the pastor married us, but we got married at my house.
Okay. All right. Well, that's nice. Now, was the pastor Mr. Elrod?
No, it was Bobby Ryan.
Bobby Ryan. Okay.
Right.
All right. Bobby Ryan was here for quite a while, wasn't
He was. Well, the first summer he was here, my grandparents were killed in an automobile accident.
Okay.
And he did their funeral. I think that was the first close contact I had with him, and went on to become good friends. And he was there with us with some good times and the lowest points in our life, I guess.
Do you remember any of the deacons that were here at that time?
Royce, Mark Pickle, Clyde Teams. I don't know that he was here in the beginning, but I remember Clyde being a deacon. Well, Royce and Mark, I guess, are the ones I remember the most. And Mr. Tatum. Mr. Tatum was always a big part of everything.
Mr. Olin Tatum?
Yes.
And he was commissioner in Bartow County for a while.
Yes.
Yeah. What about Lucius Pope?
Yes.
Yeah. And he just lived down the road, didn't
Right,
he?
right.
So.
And his daughter, Faye, was a part of our group, too.
Yeah. Haven't seen Faye in a while, but she's still, as far as I know, she's still a member here.
Well, she came at one point back several years ago down here. She came for a good while and would sit in the very back there. And I don't know what happened that
Yeah.
she stopped, but
What is your fondest memory of Friendship Baptist Church?
two things. That one was the camaraderie of the youth, the togetherness that we had. I mean, we were in church together, we went to school together, most of us lived here in the community, and there just wasn't a day that went by that we didn't all get together. And the other thing that it's not a fond, well, it is a fond memory, but it's from a sad time. My little grandson died, and after his funeral, we came back to the church, for a meal, and Grace Epps was standing there at the door with her arms wide open for me, and I just felt like I had come home, everything was going to be all right, because Grace was there to hug my neck. So that's a very comforting memory.
Yeah. And we just lost Miss Grace just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And there's a tree that you guys planted here on the property in memory of your grandson.
Yes.
And his name was Bryce?
Bryce Rogers.
Yeah.
And Jeff and Lori Baxter were responsible for planting that tree. They were.
We had a group here for a while that was called the Lunch Bunch. Do you remember how it started and what all they done?
I do not, but Sybil is the person that's going to be able to give you that information. She is the last person, I think, left of that group.
I've seen myself how this church goes above and beyond to support our youth groups.
Well, see, now when I was youth, all the work with the youth was voluntary. We didn't have a youth minister or anything like that. This was just individuals that were willing to give their time and meet with us and go places with us, and
Y'all had a lot of fun together.
we did. We
grew
really
together
did.
as Christians and grew together as brothers and
Right.
sisters in Christ. That's awesome. Is there anything else you would like to tell us about Friendship Baptist Church that you thought about over the last few days, maybe?
Well, just the wonderful people that have been here. People have moved on, people have passed away, but it's just, we've been blessed to have good Christian people here, and just ordinary good people, not
Right.
salt of the earth kind of people.